To Georgia, where Prime Minister has rejected any negotiations with the opposition as thousands of people remain out in the streets protesting the government's decision to turn away from EU accession talks. More than 200 people have been detained so far in 4 nights of demos, with pro-European President Selina Sykes saying some have been subjected to severe beatings. Well, a prominent opposition leader, Zurab Yaparditsa, was briefly arrested also, though later posted on social media that he'd been released. Selina Sykes has more.
For a 5th night in a row, protesters with EU and Georgian flags gather outside Parliament in the Georgian capital to demonstrate against the government's decision to postpone talks on European Union accession. They accuse the ruling party of aiming to drag Georgia back into Russia's sphere of influence, even though an overwhelming majority of the population backs joining the 27-country bloc.
We do deserve to be part of EU, and we will never give up until we get whatever we want.
Democracy, freedom of speech, social welfare, and everything which is related to the European community is important.
Protesters were once again met by riot police and water cannons on Monday night. Many Georgians have been shocked by the level of violence directed at demonstrators as well as journalists. The country's human rights ombudsman said it amounted to brutality. Georgia's Prime Minister, though, blames opposition parties for fueling what he said were lies about his government's intentions. He insists that his Georgian Dream Party is still committed to European integration, despite not putting the issue on the agenda until the end of 2028.
I had a discussion about European integration with diplomats today at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they were instructed to put maximum efforts into the EU integration process.
An increasing number of public officials don't appear to believe that's the case. Several top diplomats have resigned, including the ambassador to the US, as well as hundreds of civil servants. The government is also locked in a standoff with its own pro-opposition and pro-EU president, who has spoken out against what she calls a crackdown on free speech, and has called for a new vote after parliamentary elections last month, which the opposition has denounced as rigged.
For more of the latest details, we're joined now with Tina Dolbaya from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, speaking to us from Washington. Thanks for being with us. The protests are growing, but also the government side is digging its heels in. There's no side that any side is willing to back down.
Thank you for inviting. Yes, that is correct. There are nationwide protests. So protests are happening not only in the capital of Tbilisi, but everywhere across Georgia. So in this case, these protests are truly unprecedented, truly unremarkable, and truly nationwide. Government shows no signs of backing down. They are saying that the ruling Georgian Dream Party's main goal is European Union integration. However, protesters, anti-Western protesters and the opposition say do not understand why the government is delaying this process until 2028 if their goal is for Georgia to become part of the European Union in 2030.
Now, the government just elected back in October, and some, even the president, Selina Sykes, saying that it's illegitimate. Why is that claim being made?
Because there are a number of claims and very credible reports that the elections were rigged, they were not free, they were not fair. There were a number of cases of carousel voting, so one person would vote in different voting districts. There was vote buying, there was wide-scale also voter intimidation. They also deprived right to citizens who lived abroad to vote by not opening many voting districts abroad. Due to these reasons, pro-Western opposition, also pro-Western president, as you have mentioned, believe that the elections were rigged. Therefore, the current government cannot be legitimate. So that's why they are called the illegitimate government. That's why the main goal of President Zurabishvili right now is to have new, free and fair elections. And this is the main goal of the demonstrations as well.
When you're speaking with people who are in Georgia, do you find that they're optimistic that they can achieve change? Are they scared? How are they feeling when they're out in the streets right now?
Well, of course, I think people are scared because, as you can see, there is wide-scale police brutality. As you have mentioned in the beginning, a number of people who are detained were severely beaten. Actually, public defender has said that up to 80% of the detained said that they were severely beaten. So, of course, people are scared, but people are more scared of losing their European future. So that's why they are in the streets out protesting. I have heard anecdotal cases that even those who voted for the European Union, for the Georgian Dream Party, because they believed the Georgian Dream's promise that Georgia would eventually become part of the European Union, even those are now protesting. And this protest is only not happening in the street, but also it's happening in the state agencies, state ministries. There are a number of civil servants who are saying that they disagree with the current government stance, and they want the current government to continue its European path.
As a fight for the future of Georgia, which direction it goes in a way, it echoes what we saw years ago in Ukraine. What's the European Union been saying about this?
Yes, so European Union made its first statement yesterday. Kaja Kallas and von der Leyen, they said that they condemned the violent crackdown on peaceful protesters. They also condemned the Georgian Dream's decision to abort any kind of effort to open accession talks with the European Union until 2028. And they said that there will be direct EU consequences. There were also direct consequences and actions from the Baltic states, who decided to sanction founder of the Georgian Dream Party, Bidzina Ivanishvili, but also several members of the Ministry of Internal Affairs who are responsible for the violent crackdown on protesters. So they are sanctioning these people, and these people won't be able to enter any of the Baltic states moving forward.
Thank you very much, Tina Dolbaya from Washington there, joining us with the latest updates from Georgia. Move on now to the United States.